All right, here we go with day 4 of my over-the-board master study plan. Today I'm going to do another 5-minute puzzle rush. I'm going to play a 15 plus 10 rapid game on chess.com, and I'm going to analyze that rapid game. So we're going to start with the puzzle rush. I really want to beat this score of 37, and I tend to go too slow. So my goal this time is I'm going to go more quickly, and if I get more wrong, then I get more wrong. Gotta get my speed back. Gotta get the speed back. I don't know the answer. Almost mouse slipped that. That was a really weird puzzle. And to keep the pawn guarded. No, what was the answer, Queen? Oh, I had 1:04 remaining. That was a pretty good pace. Oh, that's a very nice puzzle. I did not think of that. Okay. see, which other ones did I get wrong? Okay, that's what I did last time. Oh, completely missed that there was a back rank. And all the beginning ones are back rank too. That should have been obvious. So here I did queen takes bishop, but the rook hangs. That's what I missed. All right, so those weren't too bad. Just a few slip-ups on my part. Score of 31. I'll do it again for my day 5 study plan, see if I can get that 37. I really think I can get there, but it just takes more practice. All right, so now let's jump over to live chess and we'll play at 15-10. Okay, here we go. Pineapple pawn ZZZZ. Let's play e4. Pineapple pawns is 1758, and they're going with Sicilian. Let's go with open Sicilian, knight f3. I haven't decided for sure what our ChessGoals e4 repertoire will play against Sicilian, but I am thinking it'll be c3 Sicilian, most likely. But in this game, I want to play this line with queen takes d4. It's a little bit different, but I have studied it in the past, probably like 15 years ago. The idea with this line is you can kind of create like a Marazzi bind setup if they go a6 like my opponent did. Now I'm trying to remember where to put the queen. I think d2 is actually the best, and the idea is this bishop comes out to b2. It looks strange though, but I think that's the idea. g6, b3, bishop g7, bishop b2, bishop there, okay. Well, that bishop has to go somewhere, might as well put him on e2. Memphis is wanting attention. Knight e5 is going to be played. All right, let's get this bishop out. Bring that toy over here. Okay, bishop g7, bishop to b2. So now everything feels solid here. That's what I like about this position. This is defended twice. The queen guards the b2 bishop. Knight's defended twice. And I do have the bishop pair. So 2 bishops for bishop and knight. I'm feeling pretty good in this position. Knight e5, I'm going to drop back. And the plan is castle kingside. And once I'm castled, then I'm going to look to expand. Either f4 or b4. But that's kind of the idea. Get castled and then expand in the center and really try to control all of these central squares. So let's see what my opponent does here. Queen to a5, okay. Hitting the knight, lining up the queens. Now sometimes knight d5 can be a good move in these positions. And if queen takes, king takes, but right now this pawn hangs. So if I castle, there's no knight takes e4, I can still take it. So this should be fine. And I want to get a rook onto d1 next. I don't like that the queen is undefended currently. Once my queen is defended, then I don't have to think as much about the tactics. Knight d5 is definitely a move I want to play, if I can get that to work. but I have to watch for this. Tempting plan here is f4, bishop f3. After f4, though, there is knight to g4, so I have to keep an eye on that. Could potentially play h3 first, guarding this square, and then play f4. I expect my opponent to castle, and maybe look to play b5, trying to chip away at my center. So what I'm wondering is if I can get away with f4 next. Like, let's say castle, f4, knight here, with the idea of queen c5 check. I don't think my opponent has anything immediate that they're trying to do. Let's just go with h3 and f4 next. Prevent this idea completely, because I don't think that knight really has any great squares. It doesn't want to go back to c6 necessarily, and allow me to just build this really big center. a3, b4 could be another idea. Looking to expand on the queen side. All right, we see rook to c8. Hitting this pawn, probably looking at b5 ideas still. Let's go ahead with the f4 plan. Forcing that knight to retreat, either to c6 or d7. d7, it could be heading out to c5. c6 doesn't have a big future on c6. And I'm thinking I might want the rooks on d1 and c1 here. d1 and c1 looks pretty good. I don't think b5 works tactically coming up because I do still have 3 pieces on it, unless in the end black's able to trade queens and play rook c2. So that's a good reason to have a rook on c1, kind of get ready for any of those tactics. But I'm also tempted to do a3 and b4 here. Like, let's say knight c6, a3. I don't think there's b5 right away. Okay, so the knight's heading here, which hits this pawn. Oh, knight d5 is getting pretty tempting. Okay, let's play rook d1. Nice and solid. I'm not worried about the checks. I can always sidestep the king. b5 I'm still going to take, winning a pawn. And if knight here double attacking e4, I'm thinking bishop to f3. e5 is also kind of tempting. But I'm expecting knight c5, so maybe knight c5, bishop f3, pawn to b5. Nice thematic move. At that point, I'd really like to do knight d5 myself, because if queen takes queen, there's this little tactic where I can take e7 check, king moves, and then take the queen back. Let's see what black does here. If black doesn't play knight c5, so let's say it's my move here, I should have a plan ready. I mean, maybe a3, knight c5, sidestep the queen. Oh, that could be interesting. So let's say knight c5, maybe queen c2. b5 though. Yeah, I don't like that so much. The rook is lined up with my queen. So I think I only go for the a3 move if black does something slower. Like let's say rook d8, a3, knight c5, queen c2. If b5, b4, fork. That timing looks good. So if it's my move, I'm going a3. But if black puts this immediate pressure on the pawn on e4, all right, he does. Now I think I need bishop f3. And I'm expecting b5. Oh, bishop h6. Hitting this pawn. Maybe black wants e5, but then d6 drops. So I'm feeling okay with g3. If e5, I'm taking d6 and the knight's hanging. These tactics all seem okay still. Oh, wow. I didn't think that was playable. What's wrong with taking d6 hitting the knight? I don't see any tactics there. Rook d8, I'm still taking the knight. This should be good. Unless my opponent's sacrificing. Maybe they want to give up a piece for a couple pawns. Like take here, take knight, take here. Okay, rook c6, defending that knight. That's creative. But now I can win another pawn. Queen takes e5 has to be the critical move here. I like this a lot because I think it also helps me solve potential issues. Rook e8 is going to be played. So queen e5, rook e8. Queen d4. This is still protected 3 times. Attack 3 times. And I have queen and bishop lined up on this diagonal. I like the look of that. So I want knight d5 now, threatening mate on h8 if their knight moves. I really like the look of knight d5. And bishop g7, do I still play it? I might be able to still play knight d5. But I could also play it safe and do something like e5. Just shut down this diagonal temporarily, opening up this other diagonal for the light square bishop. Because I'm +2 here, I don't have to take any big risks. Like let's say here, knight h5. Now my queen's attacked and this bishop is loose. I don't know if I want to bring the queen back here, because e4 is attacked twice by the c5 knight and the rook. Only defended once by my bishop at that point. Yeah, so bishop g7, I think e5 is probably better. Because I really like the scope of the light square bishop after that anyways, hitting this pawn. And my knight still wants to come into d5. So let's say bishop g7, e5, knight has to move somewhere. Knight h5, I would capture it still. I think, weakening those pawns. But I could even play like queen f2, and then knight d5 is coming next. Yeah, I really like the look of that position. So bishop g7, I'm going e5. And maybe that's my plan anyways, like let's say rook e8. Could still play e5, but in that case I have knight d5 as well. Rook e8, knight d5, bishop g7. Oh, I could play b4 there, forking knight and queen. Yeah, this could be a big problem for black. If I get knight d5 in, and there's no bishop already on g7, black might be in trouble. Okay, queen back. Wow, I think this is begging for knight d5, hitting the queen and hitting the knight. Knight can't take because I mate. Queen could go here to guard the knight, but then this knight drops. There's no knight takes here because the queen hangs. Yeah, I'm feeling good with this. Knight d5. Queen d6, I have this knight triple attack. Knight, queen, and bishop. This is like the Paul Gabriel sponsored stream, I think. I'm wearing a free t-shirt from Paul that says Crossroads Group. It's the name of his, I don't know what you call it, parent company. And I have an Everything Money mug that I got for free. It's a Yeti mug, or tumbler, I guess. That's Paul's YouTube channel. So thanks, Paul, for sponsoring this stream. Okay, I think this is over for black. There's just too many threats. Everything's being attacked at once. My opponent has 6 minutes. Let's see, what's their rating? What's their blitz rating? 1700 on the dot. Let's take a peek at their profile while we're waiting. Okay, 24,000 games, 1700. So I like looking at that sometimes because I think the blitz ratings are a pretty comparable measure to over the board for the most part. So, 1700 rapid doesn't necessarily mean 1700 over the board, but I think 1700 blitz will put this opponent in that category. Maybe 1700 OTB, somewhere in that range because there's 1700 on the dot. All right, so now after rook d8, there's a lot of good looking moves here. I think knight takes f6 check. Seems the cleanest. But knight takes queen looks really good too. Rook takes back and then win the rook for free, and this is hanging and this is hanging. Let's see, is there a way for black to stop checkmate? Let's say knight takes here. Oh, maybe they go king f8. Oh, but I have queen and rook hitting d8. Yeah, this is all just kind of falling apart. I don't think it matters too much which way I play it. Let's try this route because it looks faster. I think there's chances for a checkmate here. I like that I'm threatening queen takes rook with my rook backing it up. And now this is threatening a big mate. Queen h8. And if white trades rooks and tries king f8, then I have rook coming down to d8, which will be a mate that way. Queen takes rook and queen takes back. So there's that mate threat, and then there's the other threat of rook trade and coming to d8. So it looks like I'm checkmate no matter what my opponent does. All right, resignation. And they want a rematch. All right, let's check out the analysis. See what this game review says. Okay, I like the accuracy score and I like the look of the chart. But looks like maybe there were some small slip-ups. Let's put this into analysis mode. Okay, so kingside castle here. That seems okay. 0.7 edge. H3, the computer did not like due to a real quick B5. If C takes B, A takes B. Oh, I can't get away with taking because of the loose E4 pawn. So there's no knight takes, I lose the queen. And if bishop takes, there's knight takes E4. And after these trades, black has two center pawns for my two wing pawns. And I think this is an advantage for black. It might not be a huge advantage, but it's kind of like a Benko in a way, like black gets this queenside pressure and they have a solid center. So instead of H3, I should have played F3, I think. Just kind of looking at what the engine says, rook A to E1. Yeah, now F3 is showing up. Even A3 here is a nice move, threatening B4. I think this makes the most sense. Okay, so let's say F3 and my opponent still goes rook C8. Rook A to D1. And let's say rook F D8. Yeah, it really likes F4, or king H1 and then F4. And this move is not good because of knight D5. Get that tactic again. If knight takes D5, the queen hangs. And if queen takes queen, knight takes E7 check. Okay, so I had the right idea with F4. I was just a little bit slow with this H3 move because of this real quick B5. So I either need to play F3 or maybe even like rook to D1, guarding this queen. So my opponent doesn't play B5 right away and I hit him with F4 and rook D1. Bishop F3. Yeah, I feel like I didn't have a good sense of exactly how to place the pieces, and that kind of shows. Like, all of these moves were slight inaccuracies. F4, I could have started with rook A to D1. And there's no B5 really because of this tactic again. Yeah, I think that was the key, like get a rook onto D1 more quickly instead of F4. Now at this point I kept thinking rook F to D1, but rook A to D1 is stronger because this rook actually sits pretty well on the F file, defending this pawn, and I might be thinking of even like G4 soon, and this rook is well placed for kingside play. I was kind of fixated on rooks on C1 and D1, but this is actually stronger. Yeah, they're kind of close in eval. Knight C5, rook A to B1. This is interesting. So let's say black does a wasted move, just to check the threat. Oh, bishop to A1. I really like that idea with B4 threatened. That's very nice. Queen E3 is also a move here. Alright, so I did bishop to F3. I'm still okay with this setup. You know, I wasn't doing anything too crazy. I was just playing solid. And I think I still had a good long-term plan. I wanted to eventually keep pushing ahead. Now after E5, queen takes D6. And it looks like black needs to bring this bishop back to kind of try to stay in the game, but it's still a pretty nice advantage. And after this, it's just completely over. Queen takes e5. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to focus too much on that opening in terms of going forward, because I'm not sure if I'll be playing these sort of Maratsi-bind setups on a regular basis. But it is always nice to kind of play around with the engine and see what it recommends in terms of piece placement. Here even queenside castling was an option. This does look pretty fun. Kingside castle, king b1, b5, f4. And just try to crash through in the center, I guess. Wow. Oh, this knight hangs. Okay. Yeah, so that works out well for white. So that's the end of my day 4 study plan. I was hoping to get an opponent that was a little bit higher rated. The first opponent I got paired with actually aborted the game because I think they were only rated like 1,000. So that's one thing I have to figure out is for these 15 plus 10 games, I might just have to accept the fact that I need to practice beating players that are lower rated for the most part, because there's just not a lot of players over 2200 playing 1510. Alright, so that concludes the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will record another one for day 5 of the Master Study Plan.